So my dear friends, welcome back. In the previous video, we have looked into some basic concepts related to this chapter. And those topics like the tropical regions, what are the subtropical regions, what are the equatorial regions, and also with regard to some basic concepts related to river. For example, what are the tributaries, what are a river mouth, and also the river basin. In this chapter, you have to study about human interactions in two different climatic conditions, not very different, but somehow they are different. The one you will see in Amazon river basin, and the other you will look into the life or the human interactions that is taking place in the Ganga Brahmaputra river basin. So without wasting any time, let's start our journey with this Amazon river basin. Now, so when we talk about Amazon river basin, first we will look into the climate that is available in Amazon river basin. So, what is the climate that you will find in Amazon river basin? First, what are the Amazon? What do I mean when I say Amazon river basin? So these are when I say Amazon river basin. So this is the area which is drained by the Amazon river and its tributaries, right? So first look into what is this Amazon river basin consisting of. So when we say Amazon river basin, it consists of those countries through which either Amazon river itself passes through, or the tributaries that are finally flowing into the river Amazon. These tributaries flow through these countries. For example, you have Bolivia, through which Amazon river, one of the tributary of Amazon river passes. Then you have Brazil. Now Brazil is very important country in this part, because the Amazon river mostly flow through this country, right? Colombia, one of the tributary that flows. Ecuador, you have Guyana, then you have Peru, then you have Suriname, and then you have Venezuela. These are the countries through which the tributaries or the Amazon river itself passes through, or these are the areas, these are the countries through which water is collected into this whole Amazon river network. Okay, some countries that are not there, for example Argentina, you will not find. Chile is not here. So sometimes questions are twisted and turned, and it may be asked that which are the countries that are not present in Amazon river basin. So these Argentina, Chile, these are the countries that are not present in this Amazon river basin. Now let's talk about the climate that is existing in this river basin. So you will generally find a hot climate, means temperature is very high, and wet climate. And this hot and wet climate will you will find this throughout the year. Okay, when I say wet climate throughout the year, it means that there will be no single dry season in this river basin. And because of this, you will find that the vegetation or the forest that is found here is basically rainforest. So these are rainforest, evergreen forests, which are very thick. Thick in the sense that a very large amount of species of flora, are found here. So this is not just rich in flora. Because this is rich in flora, so you have also a large diversity of fauna also. Okay, so fauna means the animals that are living there. Now, with in addition to the flora that you have in large amount of a species, in large diversity of flora you have, and large diversity of fauna you have also large diversity of birds here. For example, toucans and hummingbird. This hummingbird is very much important, because the hummingbird is the smallest bird in the entire world. Okay, so just write it down. This is the smallest bird on earth, right? This is a smallest bird on the earth. So that is why this is very important. Now, what are the animals that you will find in this Amazon river basin? So monkeys are very dominant here. Sloth is another very important animal. First thing about sloth I will try to mention here is that sloth is one of the means laziest type of animal, slowest type of animal. These sloth are generally leaf eaters, and they reside on the plant branches, and once in a week or once in a day they come down on the earth, on the ground. Okay, generally they live in the on the plants and trees. Okay, so sloth are the slowest and the laziest animal known on the earth. Then you have ant eating tapirs. Okay, and then you have a peculiar type of fish that is found here, and that is called piranha. Piranha is a very notorious fish, the reason being they are flesh eaters. And there is a Hollywood movie with on that is, centered around this piranha, and the name of the movie is also piranha. So piranha is basically notorious for the reason that they eat flesh. Okay, now this Amazon river basin is a very vast area, and it covers almost 35.5% of entire South American continent that you have. So this is a very vast river basin consisting of maximum number of countries that you have in Southern America, Southern American continent. Okay, so that is the significance of Amazon river basin. And the rainforest that is called Amazonia, that is called the lung of the earth. The reason being, this is the you know this is covering one of the largest area on the earth in terms of the coverage of the vegetation or the coverage of thick forest that we have. So that is why we call it the lung of the earth. And recently there has been a large amount of deforestation because of developmental activities. For example, the construction of roads, the construction of highways, the construction of bridges, and also for the purpose of agriculture, a large patch of forest has been cleared. And that is why the environmentalists all around the world are very concerned with regard to the incident that is happening there, the large amount of deforestation that is going on. Okay, now one very important concept that you have to understand with regard to Amazon river basin is slash and burn type of agriculture practice. So this is a type of agriculture practice which is called slash and burn. Now what is this called? What do you mean by this slash and burn agriculture? Let's try to understand this through a diagram. So suppose you know that Amazon river basin is covered by a very thick type of forest. Okay, and so when you have an area which is covered by very thick forest, what you have to do for agricultural practices, what will you do for growing crops? So for that you have to actually cut trees. So these are the trees, suppose these are the trees which are very thick, and you have also some smaller trees here. So these are the trees that is available here. So what do the people, the tribal people that lives here will do? They will cut some trees. So they will, what will they do? They will cut some trees, and since these trees are have been cutted down, the trees are cutted down, and then fire, they will burn it. So they will burn it. Now the ashes will meet to the soil. Now this ashes, when mixed with the soil, the nutrients are added to the soil, and that is why this area after some time gets nutrient rich. The soil here gets nutrient rich, and this is now here crops can be cultivated, the crops can be grown. So these tribal people will now grow crops here. Okay, and after some years, for example a couple of years or 3 to 4 years, they will continuously grow crops season by season. And over a period of time, for example after 3 years, the soil will lose its fertility because of the nutrients that have now have been consumed by growing of crops. So what will happen, that these tribal people now will move to some more area. So what will happen, this region will now be abandoned, and this area will now be cleared in the same fashion. The tree will be cut first, then it will be set on fire. Now the trees that have been burned, they will get converted into ash. The ash will be mixed into soil, and the soil will be nutrient rich, and the crops will be grown. Now, so this process of cutting trees, burning those trees, growing crops, and abandoning, this is repeated again and again. And so this is called slash and burn type of agriculture. Okay, what is happening? First you are cutting the trees, then you are burning these trees, and the soil is getting nutrient rich. Okay, and then you are growing crops, right? And then when this area gets infertile, the soil loses its productivity. So then what are you doing here? When the soil loses its productivity, what are you doing here? You are going to abandon this area, and you will move to a new area where you will repeat these same activities again. And what will happen after 3 to 4 years? The soil of this area will again will regain fertility, will regain nutrients, and these people will again move to this area. So this process occurs continuously. Now this slash and burn type of agriculture is not something which is peculiar to rainforest of Amazonia. This is also happening in Northeast India. This is also happening in Indonesia and in many other parts of the world, but they are known by different names in the different part of the world. For example, in India we call it jhuming. Slash and burn agriculture in India, which is practiced in Northeast India particularly, is called jhuming. So this is something which is predominant in Amazon river basin. So this is all about the life that is existing, the type of life, that the type of human interactions that is there in Amazon river basin. Now let's move to our second topic that is here, that is life in the Ganga Brahmaputra basin. Now when we say Ganga Brahmaputra basin, we are basically talking about three rivers here. When we say Ganga Brahmaputra river basin, we talk about three rivers. One is the Ganga, and the second is Brahmaputra, which are major rivers, and the third one is the Barak river. Now this Barak river rises from Manipur hills, and then it, after passing through Manipur, it goes into, and some other states as well, it goes into Bangladesh, where it is called Meghna. So three rivers you have to remember when it comes to Ganga Brahmaputra river basin. The two rivers are mentioned here. The other one is a small river which is called Barak. Okay. Now the most peculiar thing is that this is the most densely populated river basin in the entire world. Most populated river. Most populated river in the sense that you have India and you have Bangladesh, which are one of the two most densely populated countries of the world. Okay, now it lies between 10° north and 30° north latitudes, meaning that they lie in subtropical regions, right? Now when we talk about climate, there is a monsoonal type of climate that you will witness here. When I say monsoon type of climate, it means you will have a dry and wet season. And wet season is that season in which rainfall occurs, and rainfall is caused by monsoon winds. Okay, so that is the peculiarity of this river basin. Now, so this basin, as we have mentioned, consists of two major rivers, Ganga, Brahmaputra, and one smaller river which is Barak. Now when we talk about the tributaries of Ganga, you have some tributaries of Ganga that you must know. For example, you have Ghagra, you have Son, you have Chambal, you have Gandak, and you have Kosi. Kosi is very important to understand here because Kosi is called the sorrow of Bihar. Kosi every year brings lot of damage to life and property in northern part of Bihar. So that is why it is called the sorrow of Bihar. and this is because Kosi frequently changes its course. Okay, that is why very difficult to control this river. Then you have also some more rivers. For example, you have Damodar river, okay, that are also tributaries of Ganga. Now, when we talk about drainage basin of Ganga, we have states like UP through which Ganga actually flows. Then you have Bihar through which Ganga flows. Then you have West Bengal through which Ganga flows. Okay, so these are the states through which Ganga flows. These are the drainage basin of Ganga. We have also Uttarakhand through which Ganga flows. Then you have some states like MP, Rajasthan, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, and this Delhi region through which Yamuna flows. So basically these are the states through which tributaries of this river Ganga flows, and that is why they are combined into a common term called drainage basin of Ganga. Okay, means the entire network of Ganga and its tributaries are getting water from these states. Okay, now what are the drainage basins of Brahmaputra? You have first of all Arunachal Pradesh through which Brahmaputra enters India. Then you have Assam. This is the major state. Okay. Then you have West Bengal. You have Meghalaya. You have Nagaland, and then you have Sikkim. Sikkim is actually famous for a river called Tista, and Tista river is a major, right bank tributary of Brahmaputra river. That is why Sikkim is also under the drainage basin of Brahmaputra river. Okay. Now one peculiar thing is that this Brahmaputra river drainage basin has a place called Cherrapunji in Meghalaya, which is the wettest place on the earth. Okay, that is why this drainage basin consists of the heaviest rainfall region in the world, and that is called the Cherrapunji. Okay. Now, some salient features that you will observe in this Ganga Brahmaputra river basin is first the plains that you have of Ganga and Brahmaputra. We have Gangetic plain, which is the one of the most fertile region in the world. Then you have Brahmaputra plain. The northern part of Brahmaputra plain is also famous for rice growing and all those things. And then you have mountain and foothills of Himalayas, right? And then you have Sundarban Delta. Now this is very important to understand. What do you understand by delta? So this is a very important concept to understand. What do you understand by delta? So delta is basically a type of area, a type of sedimentary area which is formed by the sediments of the river when river meets the ocean. For example, here is Ganga flowing, and this Ganga is being joined by Brahmaputra in some part. Okay, so this is being joined by Brahmaputra, and a small river Meghna is also joining it. Now these rivers are coming with a lot amount of sediments with them, and when these sediments are now getting accumulated before these waters are these waters are drained into the Arabian Ocean. Okay, so here is accumulation of a large amount of silts or the sediments that are being brought by these three rivers, Ganga, Brahmaputra, and very little by Meghna river. Okay, Barak that we call in India and Meghna in Bangladesh. Now this is the largest delta formed in the world. So Sundarban Delta is named after a tree called Sundari, and that is why this delta is formed by two bigger rivers called Ganga Brahmaputra. The delta formed is very large, and this delta is predominated by the Sundari type of tree, which is a type of tree that have a peculiar advantage of adaptations. They have the capacity to adapt to saline water. Okay, so basically what is happening here, the river mouths of Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna are discharging their water into Arabian Sea, and while discharging their water, they are carrying a large amount of sediments, and these sediments are getting deposited and forming a triangular like a structure, a triangular like a structure that is called delta. Okay, so this was the basic concept that we have to study in this chapter. Hope you have understood each of these topics very clearly. Okay, and if you do not have watched the previous video, you must go through that video so as to have a comprehensive understanding of what is river mouth, what are tributaries, and what is river basin. Okay, so in this chapter we will restrict ourselves up to here. Thanks for watching, and two things you must do: like, subscribe, and share. Right, these three things you must do. So in this video it is goodbye from my side. In the next video we will start with the last chapter that we have in class 7 NCERT, our environment. Up till then, take care and goodbye.